Hi everyone, this is Ray with the education team from Swirlydoos Kit Club, and today I'm going to be sharing with you the project add-on for May 2014. What we have is an acrylic cover for a mini album, and we saw this at CHA where it looked like it was bubble glass, so we're going to create a faux glass finish on the top. And to do that, we're going to be using some Goosebumps. This also comes in the kit, and we're going to be adding some pretty images of stamps. These LeBlanc stamps, very high quality. I'm going to be using some archival ink for my stash for this. Some Stays On or the Ranger kind is fine. And then I'm going to color in those little flowers and the leaves using these brand new Kaiser markers. In the kit you get 2 different colors of green and 2 different colors of pink, so you can get that variegated look, and these colors go perfectly with the main kit paper. So to start out with, I'm going to be using the stamps with the archival ink. And what I want to do is there is a clear cover on both the front and the back, and I'm not working with the back yet, so I'm going to leave the back on for now. Okay, so I have 2 different images, and I'm going to pretty much alternate these so that they will frame around the edges. Okay, so I finished stamping nearly all the way around. I'm going to be putting one of those garden baths that we got in the main kit right here, so I thought I wouldn't cover that part up just so that it will have some little differences there. So I left that part blank and I somewhat alternated, and in the middle of stamping I had to use my re-inker for my archival ink, and so a couple of the stampings got a little muddled, like this one right here. There was a couple of others that didn't come out well either, but what I was able to do, and I'll just show you because I have some extra ink right here. If you are using archival ink on acrylic and you make a mistake, you don't want it there, you can use some of your alcohol blending solution for your alcohol inks. Put a little bit on a piece of paper towel or whatever you have, a little cloth, and what you can do is just dab it on there and it will go away. And I want to be careful not to get to my other stamping. And then now it's gone. So that's nice. If you need it to be perfect. I don't need it to be perfect. I don't really care about stuff like that, but that edge right there I didn't want. So I've got that, and I think all of my stamped images are as good as I want them to be. Okay, so now that they're dry, I'm going to use my next step, and I want to use some of the Goosebumps. The one thing about Goosebumps that if you're going to use this and you're going to be taking breaks in between, make sure you rinse this out, because even if you do, you still get clogs sometimes, and so that's not good because then it will come out in a stream and it won't go in the direction that you want it to. I thought I cleaned this one out, but I guess I didn't. But for this album, I wanted it to have a little bit of a blue hue, and I did some practicing on some acrylic earlier with the blue that I have, and I really didn't like it. So what I thought I would do is mix 1 drop of alcohol ink to a 1/2 ounce of Goosebumps, and I have it in this little bottle, this empty little bottle that I have, and I've shaken it up, and just 1 little tiny drop has made it that color. So I'm going to alternate with this blue and with this clear to somewhat give it a sea glass look, and because we do have some blue in the kit, I think it will go together nicely. So I'm just going to start out with the white. And I'm just going to do light coats and let it dry in between. Okay, so I've just been layering the Goosebumps and also the Goosebumps that I put some alcohol ink in, and I've just been spritzing lightly over, letting it not completely dry, but enough to where it's set up, and then I'm just keep adding layers. And I've finished off my bottle, and I have just a little bit left in here. And I thought I would just go ahead and make some little dots in just some random places. So my acrylic cover is about 90% dry. There's still a couple of spaces, like right here, that are pretty wet, but I won't touch them when I move on to my next step. So I put some white piece of paper underneath here so that you would be able to see the blue and how it turned out, and I'll just kind of move it around like this so you can see what it's looking like so far. Now on the back I still have the acrylic piece covers, which I'm just going to take off, and it will give us a better idea of what it looks like. And it's still translucent and very pretty. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these markers and color in, kind of to give it a little bit of a watercolor effect, but I'm not going to do it on the top here. I'm going to do it on the bottom. So I'll start out with the lighter color of green, and because it's a pretty small space, I'm going to use this tip, but there's a larger tip on here too. So you can use that for other projects, or even this one if you wanted to. So I'll just hold it up close so that you can see where the leaves are. And I'm just going to color in, and I'm not really concerned of staying in the lines. I don't really care about that because I think it looks kind of neat if it bleeds out from underneath it. Not all the time, but some of the time. And even the parts that have a lot of dark areas, like right where I'm coloring in right now, I think that's okay to still color in that area so that you can kind of see it. So I finished coloring in the stamps, and I did so on the back like I said I was going to. And in the middle of doing that, I really did think this was dry, and I set it down right here and on right here. That Goosebumps stuff ended up right there, but that's okay because I have a little bit left of this, and I'm going to fill it back in. And I'll show you a tiny trick when you're doing this, is that this album does not sit flat, so you're going to need something to make it flat. So I have a stamp that makes it sit a little flat, and also the Tim Holtz blending tool. So I'll do that because I think I forgot to mention that last time. So I will do that after I get done decorating the front. Now the back I'm just going to leave alone. I'm not going to do anything to it except for fill in these little spots right here. I don't think it needs anything. But I want to do something on the binding and also on the front, obviously. I want to put one of these little garden baths in here because I think it looks so cute. And I only have the white one left. And what I thought I would do is frame that a little bit. So I took out some memory box dies that I have. I have these two. You can buy them separately, but they are a set. And I thought that that would incorporate the black and pink quite nicely as accents from the marker on the stamps. And I'm going to put that right here. So I'll glue those together and put that down. And then I want to put that right here. Okay, and I want to fill up this little garden tub with either some flowers or something. And I have this one. Maybe not that one, we'll see. And I also have some of the coral pieces. And some of these that came in the little berry pods from the embellishment add-on. So I think I'm going to put those in there. I think that would look cute with a flower. Okay, so now that part is decorated. I want to fill up these little spots, but I also want to do something right here first. And I think this that came in the main kit, this burlap, would go really well right there just to start out. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm just going to measure that and cut. So I have my decorative front. It's pretty 3D, and I've used Fabri-Tac to make sure that it's not going to go anywhere. And I like this binding right here. It's simple, but it just adds enough, and it will look nice sitting on a shelf like that. And then the last thing I want to do with my cover is, like I said before, I need to set this flat because I was impatient. I need to fill these bubbles. And this time, I'm actually just going to dip it in. I'm not going to spray. Now all I need to do is let this dry and I'll have a finished cover and I can move on to the rest of my mini album. Thanks for watching.